Well, hello people, and welcome back to another episode of City Showcase. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are looking at the city of Selesai by Forecrunch. Selesai, apparently, in Indonesian means finished, and this is the first project the builder has technically finished. A modded 163,000 population city on the Mountain Taper map from Sanctum Gamers map pack. Really a wonderful map and a huge sprawl here to explore, including a downtown race circuit, which I'm very keen to find out. Don't forget links below to Google form if you want to have your work featured on City Showcase, but otherwise let's take a look around this monstrous modded CS1 build, shall we? So let's start with our orbital satellite view, shall we? Pretty beast city this for CS1. The submitter left us some information on the build, including an F1 track, a karting centre, a fun build with a mall of marbles, some public transport and freeway systems, and 2 golf courses, plus a nighttime rocket launch. Doesn't that sound fun? Fantastic. So let's get started, shall we? Let's come in, let's start with the airport. Let's start here, and then we'll crawl our way across this expanse up to this eventual city centre that lies in this bay, alright? So we'll begin with the cargo port, tastefully put together with warehouses, oil storage, and vanilla cargo ports. There's also a sneaker factory in here too. With a little tunnel system leading into a pretty beast configuration of an airport. Look at all that car parking. We've also got some fun networks happening around here as well. Let's get a bit of a satellite of the airport itself. I love the car parking configuration. Tons of airport car parking. With a train also present at the front, which is getting a little bit of use. But I love that. I love seeing all the networks kind of curve off into the distance there. That's a happy little sight line, isn't it? So this could be the most amount of airport car parking I've ever seen. That nice little man-made lake in the middle as well, all landscaped. And with some planes present in the car park as well, which is the first time I've really seen that. Guessing this is almost perhaps some kind of display or retired aircraft of the airlines that operate here, perhaps, is the vibe there. Love to see the airport fence separating the airfield. And in terms of the terminal configuration, oh, you've even used Anarchy to overlap the runways too. Very tasteful. I really like that. Really cool configuration, that. Don't see too many people do this with the airport's DLC. Really nice. Also the little slip lanes using the airport aprons, tasteful stuff. And a pretty simple terminal configuration, just straight lines coming out. Nice and busy. Even cargo airport hooked into. Going away from this, we'll come across some pretty insane interchange. We'll look at all these little ramps moving in different directions, right? And this peels off into a much larger industrial area. We have some oil over here on the left, which is very busy. Especially this particular one. Did you use airport apron for this? I think you did have, haven't you? I wouldn't have thought of doing that, putting the concrete around the base of the oil derricks. We have a station in here that peels into a pretty monstrous, very mixed industrial area. More little fun ramps and networks down here too. The forestry sits in this corner. And I'm guessing this is the karting centre. Have we got a name? We do. Just literally the karting centre, of course. I could tell immediately though, right? This is really fun, especially with official assets. Right, there's a lot of race track assets, and there is some in this playset. But I think to be this creative with the vanilla pool is always so much fun to see. Using the mid-century modern carports to create a bit of a kart pit lane, if you like, right? The Nanotechnology Centre is also here with a traffic park, and then we've got another circuit as well. There's 2 circuits here. Really fun. We can see some of those race course props here too, some tyre walls. That's a lot of fun, isn't it? Really nice. And then one of those little pit lanes again too, as we head outside of the map toward the outside connections. Definitely not missing anything down here. Big rock formations at the top of the mountain. Wonderful. Really love the go-kart track. There's obviously a big racing theme in this city, isn't there? That's really fun. Great use of vanilla assets, that. Very creative. Let's head down the highways, following the train line up towards this stadium. And a really wonderful little rail yard, tucked in next to a prison, which also has the workers' barracks around the back. That might be one of the coolest prison configurations I've seen. That's a great asset combination. Workers' barracks and prisons. You've also got a Japanese office building in here as well. God, doesn't that... I thought that was a prison. Doesn't that work? That's a very nice combination. Big fan of that. Great prison build. Probably one of the better official asset prisons I've ever seen, actually. I really like that. Across the rail yard, which is very impressive, sat at the foot of this stadium, isn't it? Especially with the elevated line above it. Reminds me very much of Brooklyn, that where the metros merge out of the yard. But yes, then we have this, right? The Copper Bowl Stadium, one of my favourites. Lots of car parking and commercial around it. Great little strip mall here. You've duplicated King Leno's strip mall asset here, haven't you? Yeah, the shopping plaza. That's a real nice duplication of a unique building. Even just the street level there, right? You can see all these little angles, logos, views through to a very busy station platform there too. Oh, with the train. Yes, please. Isn't that nice? Wonderful. What a wonderful little sightline that was to stumble upon. Lots of crazy fun networks again too. Let's get a bit of a sense of this neighborhood here. A little couplet running through. Onto a bridge network as well, which is really nice. I do like doing this with my couplets, but I've never done it elevated, but that looks really sweet. I will explore this neighborhood before we head to the other side of that bridge. Some European suburbia out here. Your general kind of outer-lying suburban vibes, right? Small homes, elder care, police, parks, and cricket. Everyone's very happy. This suburb ends immediately here. We will swing and grab this industry before we come back this way. It doesn't look like there's too much out here. I think just basic farm setups really, isn't it? Some fence work here too. And then we've got a monstrous... There is definitely something out here. We've got a beast of a industrial steel plant set up. Which is really nice. I love the very repeated coal stacks right next to the steel mill. That's just a very impressive visual, isn't it? Really nice bit of orientation. Parking, warehouses, rotary kilns, and a nuclear plant also complete the rest of the facility. With the city's sewage, and a bit more power out here too, with a sunken tooth bucket excavator thing, or whatever they're called. Which is always a nice way to use them, isn't it, when they're sunken into the ground. Could have possibly gone with more dirt roads, I'd say, in the middle. I think it's unlikely they would tarmac a road like this. But a very nice execution nonetheless. Up this way, just a very small little outer-lying rural town. There's some fencing behind the commercial. Pretty basic setups out here, there's nothing too much, is there? Then we have a combination of an airports terminal with the aviation club and the helicopter depot. That is nice. I've never seen this before. That's a really fun way to use the airports DLC, combining it with the aviation club in the museum. Very nice, very creative. Really like that, actually. We'll save that for when we cross into this mass up to the downtown. Otherwise, we've just got towns out here. All intermingled amongst the highway. Nice little curve here with off-ramps coming down. We'll head down this road into a little fishing town. Again, lots of really small, kind of scattered towns all over this side of the map. And we'll follow this very wavy arterial road down. Nice little junction here with the split triangle. As we have this big greenbelt waterfront mixed in with mid-century modern luxury housing. More parks and whatnot through here. And then I love the big train belt that's cutting right through the middle of the city here. This is super cool. We have one of the Bad Peanut stations also present as well. Really nice rail work there. I'm sure the rail police will be pleased with that. I certainly am. And then lots of services and tons of Bad Peanut sports venues. Always happy to see them. This brings us to the other side of the prison, and that oil area we were at earlier. Highway's got a little U-turn system in here. I really enjoy the networks. They kind of flow over one each other very nicely, don't they? And they're all pretty sensibly graded as well. We'll follow this highway back toward the factory districts over here, where we can see some campus buildings. And then we've also got the electronics factory, big factory districts out here again. Some little retaining wall action here too, just to blend in the terrain layer, obviously. I think maybe some more trees would have been nice through here, I think. Maybe a bit of overgrowth around the rail line, perhaps. That road heads back to the port where we started, and then we've also got the car factory out here as well. With the electronics car factory. And some really nice decal work out here. This is the vanilla decals, isn't it? All the cracked stuff. Very nice, because there was no decals in the playset. It's mostly official assets beside the racetrack props he's using. But this is nice, I guess, like a bit of a storage yard perhaps, or an older scrapyard, an empty scrapyard at least, for some sort of car production facility. Nice little addition that, using the vanilla assets. Very tight and cool compact trumpet interchange there. Nice to squeeze that in. And then we'll drop back over the other suburb where we can see some industrial evolution that looks like it's been set up to look like self-storage units. That's how I interpret this very repetitive pattern. It could also just be general warehouse units as well though, couldn't it, I suppose? Which then drops us off into this huge sprawling suburb. As we get a bit of sense of road hierarchy as we head into what looks like a bit of a mid-town around here. More stadiums. As well, we can observe the traffic flow. Let's have a little look at it. We'll do 79 to 81% is very good for 161,000. Very tasty. And then public transport. Looking at 5,000, near enough 8,500 people a week that are riding the transit. That's pretty spicy. Lots of grids through here with commercial, general mixed use areas. We've got metro in here. I love that. That's a really nice vanilla road network configuration. That you could probably do this in vanilla as well. Node controllers obviously being used here. And then network anarchy as well, of course. And there's all this fun little couplet system that runs all the way through it. Look at the networks. This is such nice suburban road design. How you're directing your traffic here to take different junctions to turn off is really cool. This is such a creative way to use a couplet system, isn't it? Possibly one of the best couplets we've seen. Although this segment is far too short. It really is. Tell you what, I'll address this because we have a few patrons that suffer with this issue actually. If you come into node controller and you click on node, let's say this one right here, right? See how it's red? This is node controller just warning you that that green node is too tight because it wants the segment to be a bit longer. And if you leave it like this, what can happen is sims get stuck here. Now in your traffic manager, there is an option to help with this under maintenance. You can reset stuck sims and vehicles. But what can happen is they get stuck and they never complete their calculation, which means that your path units start to back up, which are a limited cap that the game moves people around with. And it will crash your simulation, your public transit lines will start breaking. So never a good idea to do that, because if you do it all the time, you've then got to go all the way back through and find out which one is causing the stuck sims. I had the same problem in ILOS, so it's a bit of modded kind of TLC there, if you like. It's never a good idea for very short segments. It can really hurt your simulation in the long run. But it's not to go off on a tangent. Anyway, huge, big arterial road with trams and green cities. I love this visual. This is like my classic favourite outer line suburbia. Trams and European. Just goes so well together, doesn't it? With the green cities. So what, the green cities and European suburbia is a really nice combination. I can't recall ever doing it anywhere in any of my cities. We've obviously used both of these themes maybe next to each other, but never as the main district theme, which is clearly what's going on here, isn't it? And it's very nice. Real nice vanilla zonables here. Lovely stuff. And the district breaks here as we come into definitely another district. Lots more elevated train lines and vanilla housing. Which comes up to a retained wall, vanilla zoo, and panda sanctuary. Which is a great combination of assets, isn't it? They work really, very nicely together. Oh, the bird and bee sanctuary is also here too. Alongside a train station that doesn't look overly busy. Only 36, that's fine. I'm sure we'll come across some business at some point at 160,000 people. This whole district sits this side of the highway as we move into food factory. That sits on the arterial road with commercial and warehouses. Another stadium with plenty of car parking, elevated metro also here. And then more great network design, right? We've got all these little slip lanes that take people off in a number of directions. Isn't that fun? Watch this flow for a little bit. Great use of node controller in the middle here too. Love these big kind of open curved junctions. Really makes an enormous difference of realism to CS1 node controller. Possibly top 5 mods even, I would go as far to say. There's a match day on, which is very nice. Let's see if we can get a sense of viewpoint from here, can we? Almost. But this stadium sits next to our first high-rises of the city, which is all green cities residential. Again, really nice curvy networks coming directly under the metro station here, dropping people off for match day. Great public transit connections for the stadium. Bit of modern city centre mixed in with Brooklyn and Queens lines the arterial that crosses us back over the highway. With lots of elevated pedestrian pathway, which is fantastic to see. Tons of cycle infrastructure. More cool intersections back on and off the highway. before we come into a huge, sprawling, mid-century modern district again. That has farmland in between, and that is definitely one of the most creative uses of a cricket pitch I've seen. I've never seen a cricket pitch in a roundabout before, but you know what? If it fits, it sits, doesn't it? That's the rule. And that does fit, and it does sit. Super dangerous, of course, but it looks nice. That's all that matters, really, isn't it? Farmland links us back to the water side we were at earlier with that big, curvy 2-lane arterial. That's a lot of fun. Lots of outer-lying suburban inspiration there with some really interesting couplet designs. Big fan of that. Oh, let's head down this way. Let's follow the arterial, shall we? This big sight line right down the road. You've also got the metro and tram station in, which I absolutely love. Don't use this asset nearly enough, you know. It's kind of a specific one to use, isn't it? You need metro and trams to align, which doesn't really happen all the time, I suppose. But a great asset. Really nice one. Yeah, so we'll pass under the metro, past the food factory we just passed. That's a really nice, like, arterial span, isn't it, right? All the different things you're seeing down here. Got the commercial, there's layers happening, bigger, chunkier buildings, offices, like car parking, garages, bigger designed intersections. Really cool. Really nice sweep down here. We'll cross over the highway again, where we see more retaining walls and more intersections. Look at that, look at the highway systems here. All flowing over and around each other. Really nice. Great highway design. Nice little, and then super simple basic stuff like this too. Just little gentle curved kind of trumpet style ramps. One of Bad Peanut stations occupies this suburb, which looks fantastic, doesn't it? Also got a Varsity Sports building tucked perfectly into the crook of the highway interchange there. Which is another behemoth, isn't it? Look at this, what's going on here? I've never seen one like this before. So they're using it to come this way and around, aren't they? So you can't get that direction, can you? This ramp doesn't come off, it does. Oh no, yeah, it does, yeah. It comes sneakily down under there, doesn't it? I wonder if this has a specific name, this type of interchange. I've never seen it before, like literally never seen this type. Guess it's like a, yeah, right, for all the roads to kind of like bunch together into a bundle like this and then disappear into their own lanes. It's really cool, never seen that. I love that, you know, nearly 3,700 hours in CS2 and probably many more hours of videos watched, and you can still see new designs. So much fun about city showcases, you know, everyone approaches the sandbox differently, don't they? It's what I love about this series. Still see new designs all these years later. And we're coming to a relatively sparse neighborhood out here. Not too much zoning going on, maybe that was the design. We're also climbing a hill into another little town centre here. Vanilla housing on the arterial, nothing too major out this way, I don't think. And then we'll keep following these arterial systems. Joining back up with the highway, the soft paper factory is also here as well. I imagine these people aren't particularly happy about that with the pollution. That's fine. Game anarchy is on, so the simulation isn't really being too factored in too much, which is generally how I play as well. And we also see the Sunset Harbour dual train metro station, which isn't an asset we come across too often. And then this brings us down to the Space Launch Center, where he's left us a rocket. Thank you so much for Cranch. You saved me having to wait for the rocket to be built. I will definitely show the nighttime launch. Some extremely busy cargo infrastructure. I'd probably say this interchange isn't appropriate for a cargo industrial connection like that, especially with a level crossing. That's definitely what's causing the traffic. But yeah, that's what's causing that. You want a proper interchange here to manage that many vehicles. There's also a passenger and ferry configuration across from the launch center too. And then we have a mountain nature reserve here. Now we've got another little royal station. The nature reserve gate is here, the national park. Which is definitely a more creative way to use the gate. Shame it's not a little bit wider. I suppose you could pretend maybe they're stopping driving there. Some nice retaining wall switchback work up this mountain as well. Really like how you've got these shallow keys just following the road on the turns. I put it right to the cable car, elevated pathways, and then there's a collection of fairly random assets out here. Actually, the chessboard is an interesting choice for the nature reserve this far out. Which brings us to the top of the mountain with one final viewpoint that has pretty splendid views across the whole sprawl, doesn't it? It's a super big city. See the cargo cranes where we started over there? And all this rising up into the big high rise. People on the beach, don't think there's too much along here. A little basic visitor beach car park, that's so simple and tasteful, that, you know. Bit of beach parking from people to come and enjoy this. Doesn't need to be overdone sometimes, does it? That little roundabout system here takes us up along another beach town, which has more mid-century modern, bit of vanilla in here as well. I think you've chosen all the luxury homes, haven't you? We can get a sense of this. Nice home. Yeah, pool looking out onto the beach, which is fun. Looks like we've got some of the realistic functioning beaches here too. Love to see these in use. Such a good asset this. If you're wondering what this is, it is the beach with chairs number 2. So they're like ploppable parks essentially. You can grab them and move them and then the people will follow it over. They're really fun. We use them in Thessia for those that followed. This goes all the way down into another town, which then spills back into the factory districts as the beach peters out back into the grasslands. Fantastic. So let's head back toward this next quadrant of the city now, right? And then we'll start crawling our way into this city centre here. We're dropping ourselves back by the perfectly fitted athletics track. We can come across some campus buildings, which I'm always happy to see. Nicely aligned against the highway. This is the tech school campus, isn't it, I think? Really nice tram stop out here too. Love this. This is such a simple little detail, but just the fact that the media lab isn't on the road, it just has that angle. Really just opens up that whole little corner, doesn't it? We spoke many times before about how angles can really help, of course. Make all the difference. Campus unit building right next to the highway. Before we arrive into... Have we been here yet? Yeah, this is where the cycling pathways was, wasn't it? At mid-century modern, that tram couplet also reappears here too. And then we see the train station. Hope this one's a little busier. Yeah, there we go. I'm seeing some people wait here. Hello, people. No. Not hello, people. No one's using that train. What's a bypass for the cargo lines to go through? Train police hopefully happy with this intersection. Lots of industry tucked in and around some more highway ramps. This is very cool. Nice little different directionalities here, not symmetrical. Always like seeing ramps like that. And then this brings us really where we'll follow the rails into one of the main stations we can see here. Where the metro and the train begin to align. As they come into... Oh, you've even used Network Multi-Tool, haven't you, to replace the tracks in the station with metro. Very clever. Very nice. Don't see this too often. So you're getting metro and train stops. You do this by drawing in the top of the section of track that's actually station. That means you can place the platforms on it. And you can see it's functional, right? There's people here waiting for the metro. There we go. And this is a train station, right? This is how the asset should look. But with the mods, you can make it dual functional. You could even really start taking the piss and make one of these tram as well. And maybe another one monorail. I don't think you could do monorail actually. But you could certainly do it with tram. That would be a really cool thing to see actually. We've also got train lines heading underneath the station for some nice layerage. For the network spread off into the downtown alongside a big arterial bundle. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Retaining walls here against the networks too. Basically custom bridge work going on here. Oh, it is custom bridge. Oh, look at that. That must be Thessia inspired, I'm sure. That's really cool, mate. That's really nice. So it's all metro. And then the trains are on top. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that brilliant? Don't you love to see something like that? So cool. I mean, that's essentially just network anarchy and move it. And it lets you do that with the vanilla assets. Turn it into one giant single network arterial bundle. With trams as well. Really cool. Love that. I'd love to see it a bit longer. Did you have any larger stretches of water? Maybe something like that across this big body of water, you know. But it's still cool, it's here. I'm not in any way criticizing it. I love that. So cool. We also have a mall. Oh, this is the casino over here, isn't it? With some fun little detailing. There's a very tiny retaining wall there, isn't there? With some casino waste out the back, it would seem, with some props. There's also this metro station in there too for underground connections. A little fencing. Oh, this is a bridge here, isn't it? That's how you've done that. I thought that was a fence. It's not. The road is a bridge. Really nice use of bridges to create a bit of a barrier there, isn't it? The tram and the car parking wraps around this before we come on to... This must be something specific, right? Wendy Whitley Secret Garden Pavilion. The Brooklyn and Queens combination with Ziggurat Garden is a very interesting choice. It's probably not one I would have gone for. So I'm going to assume this is one of the golf courses, of which the Ziggurat Garden is a part of that, just due to the design here. Train line flowing through with some wonderful layerage. And then we come into a little trumpet interchange. That brings us back into more outer lying suburbia. You've really mastered the art of curves and grids integrated together, just to get a grander sense of that, right? You can really see it. You kind of got the gridded suburbia to hold the housing, and then all these curvy collector arterial and highway systems that carve it all up. Really some of the nicer network design we've seen in City Showcase, especially for CS1 of course, where the road tools are so much more restrictive. Although mods are being used here admittedly. Into the town centre, we'll see one of those metro stations. And then we've got another little cool intersection here. Great alignment of a gas station on the corner. God, I noticed that. That's very nice. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Shake it too. Great view from here to the city, isn't it? Look at that. That's a really nice skyline, isn't it? Super dense. There's Melbourne and Sydney inspiration at play here for the downtown, according to the submitter. The suburbia rounds out here back towards the launch centre, where we also have a retaining wall zoo, which features a few assets from the zoo pack here, with the metro station also integrated into it. And then the Sea Life platform also having a retaining wall as well. This is then going to drop us onto the, I guess, this big peninsula that comes out into the downtown. So we'll have more outer lying suburbia this way. All pretty simple out here, isn't it? We're not missing too much. I love this little metro in between the road design. And we've got big monorail line coming down here too, which is actually heading to there, isn't it? Into the ferry station. You've split it into two separate rails here as well. Isn't that a wonderful aesthetic? It's very futuristic. And actually very inspiring for a neighborhood. You could run with this monorail couplet design for a while, couldn't you? Really fun. Really nice way to use monorail, that. Expertly split as well. Super. This runs through all the arterial, all the way through much more outer lying suburbia with sports fields. Another little interchange configuration here too. Faster national road infrastructure cutting under those interchanges. We then see two campus buildings, or the academic library, and one of the campus buildings with some nice landscaping around them. Creators Library is also here as well. And that's a really nice way to use a pedestrian road, isn't it? You could do this in vanilla and move it as well. Yeah, that's really nice. Very simple. I love that the of course the campus unique's actually sat on the pathway, isn't it? Not the road. That's really fun. What a nice design. You've used some networks very creatively in this city. Here we have, oh, I love that, the 3 metros going underground. Very cool. We also have the London Eye with an amusement park on the waterfront here, with the Theatre of Wonders, the Science Museum. As this arterial comes onto the Eddie Kavango, which is perfectly sat on the street corner, isn't it? That's a great placement of that building. With shopping, great fusing of the malls with the high-tech stuff. Big monorail systems going all the way through again. Monorail is very prevalent in the downtown here, isn't it? More monorail configuration here. With, some really nice dense blocks of commercial here. Oh, I love that you've even respected the pathway. Love stumbling upon little factored in bits like this, you know. Just like actual spaces where people would walk, you know. If you want to get around the corner, you're just going to take this shortcut, aren't you? And I love that it is, you know, it's actually here. The builder has factored it in. I love finding things like this. Back into the density. And into the more mass car parking outside a hospital complex using 2 hospitals and the medical labs. Nice little asset combination, that one. And then lots of wall-to-wall, green cities. There's loads of stuff in here. Another campus unit building. We've got the police academy in the downtown. I love seeing the campus buildings in the city centre because they're so big. Just looks like where they belong, doesn't it? There's even a fish market in here. The Christmas market. plazas and promenades stuff. A real mix of so many DLCs packed into a space here, isn't there? A stadium alongside the rails heading into the city centre, which is really where I want to get into. Now look at this. So we got lots of skyscrapers, DLC buildings here making up the skyline. With lots of wonderful little landscaping out here. Concrete aprons around these enormous towers. Very nice. Look at that for city centre view, right? That's a great little gradual jump up in heights there, isn't it? Great sight line. I love exploring people's downtowns, how people tackle them. More through here. Let's get down onto that waterfront, shall we? More elevated networks against this big green belt that comes down with the couplet. Metro, and again, it all just winds and curves and bends under each other, doesn't it? Great network design. There's a tram pedestrian stop here that goes down toward that tram system we saw earlier. Actually, this is where it emerges onto the beach. And then getting back into the city centre, let's check out these networks. There's a ton of different layers here. Oh, look at that. You've sent the rail under the building without actually doing a tunnel. That's very Japanese, isn't it? Really cool bit of layering. Obviously don't look too closely because it does go into the wall. But you know, from the perspective of where you would be playing, these trains are like passing under the building. Or is it China? Where I think there's a metro station that passes through an apartment, isn't there? I'm sure it's China. Editing, I will leave us a picture up, I'm sure. But really cool. Really cool. So many layers happening here as well. Retaining wall, sunken rails, elevated pedestrian pathway. More rail and elevated rail alongside that. Really sweet. Really nice. Lots of curved buildings in these little rail corridors too. Even parks present in there. I feel like some surface painter would have gone nice here maybe for these spaces. But that's okay. Another train station, and all this comes to a fruition in the Glassbox station. That also sits outside the Metro Plaza. Look at that. What's the ridership here? Have a little look. 730. It looks busier than that. Maybe we've just caught it on a quiet day. And there's 840 coming out of the Glassbox train station. Isn't that a really nice central transit hub, everyone? Love that. Retaining wall here too. Even more monorail. That really wraps around the edge of the buildings, doesn't it? Look at that. Such a futuristic visual, that, isn't it? You even use the top metro here too. And they're coming out over here to a whole bunch of... Oh, this must be the inner city racetrack we're reaching here. Even got more props here too. So these are the racing props they're using. I've never seen these before. What are they? If I can pick at them. Okay, so they're whole ploppable things. Okay, that's pretty fun. They're nice. Nice fun asset. And they've also got some stands here as well. Is that a whole asset in itself? It's, what are these? Racetrack grandstands. There's a few of them here as well, isn't there? Okay, really fun race pack asset. So I'm guessing this is the track coming through then, isn't it? Where's this coming to? I did say the racetrack runs through the downtown streets, i.e. kind of a Vegas or a Monaco style Grand Prix, I'm guessing. Like a street track is the word I'm looking for. We've got some of the sponsors here too. So I guess this is separate racetrack, is it? Where these barriers are coming around. And then this comes down into the road. And then, I'm guessing this is supposed to be a pit lane, right? This is what we're looking at here. Definitely has that vibe with the barrier here, doesn't it? Admittedly, the ore maintenance building does actually make a very good pit building, doesn't it? It's quite industrial looking. But all fused together like that, you can definitely get away with pretending that's a pit lane, can't you? Kind of a pit building. Which is such a distinctive visual in a city centre, isn't it? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, ever. Actually. Super unique build. Oh yeah, here we go. So we can see the crash barriers in the street. So obviously the Grand Prix is not on now. But you can, yeah, all the Pirelli signs. Super unique. Super, super unique. Little view signs here too. Very interesting. I did also notice there's another track here as well. I think this is the one that's been decommissioned because it was too dangerous. But you've used vanilla pathways as some seating, which is super creative use of the pathways there. And then we've got more of this racing fence around here, haven't we? That's just two fences. That's oil and suburban fused onto each other, isn't it? I've never seen double layered fencing before. That is definitely a first. Looks cool though, I like it. All these little sand traps around here as well, which is fun. And this comes back onto the streets with the metro, tying back into that city centre plaza. And the Mall of Marvels is also over here and was mentioned too. This again is more excellent use of terrain height here, isn't it, as it comes up and over this layer. Got the biodome, more campus unit buildings out here. Oh, look at that. That's such a cool splicing of assets with the science center and the Grand Library. And there's even a... This has to be like a convention center, right? Has to be. Does it have a name? No, it doesn't. But it definitely looks like a convention center, doesn't it? So that's a campus study hall, a campus gym, a warehouse, a science center, and the Grand Library all spliced into each other. Which I'm interpreting this as a conference center, right? I think that looks really nice. Super creative again. It's just always fun, isn't it, to see how people's brains process things. Especially with that, using the monorail, is that like a coal chute maybe? Or like freight loading? What are these assets? What are these big, these like brown wood things? Oh, it's an American pedestrian bridge that's had the life absolutely node controlled out of it. It's one single network, but it's been node controlled. I had no idea what that was. To create a pier, I guess, with a vanilla asset. So creative, you know? I'd never have ever thought of doing that. And it sits the boat museum very nicely, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. That might be one of the certainly top 5 most creative uses of node controller I think I've seen in City Showcase. That's brilliant. And they're even using it as well, albeit they do sink slightly in, but you know, you can look over that. What a wonderful little thing. Over here, more pictures, Ferris wheels, and general entertainment for the waterfront. With more campus unit buildings this side of the road as well. Really fun little area to see. We can also see the Statue of Industry in amongst the Brooklyn and Queens district here, where we also find the aquarium and the financial plaza and the art gallery as part of the amusement park on this side of the city centre. Let's head over this way now, down towards these towers where we've got another dense block of skyscrapers. Lots more concrete all in between these. And then we have a little pier here with another really wonderful example of moving and splicing and putting the modern opera house in the business arch, which is a really distinctive visual, isn't it? Almost looks quite alien, that, doesn't it? Quite monolithic almost. I think super cool, really nice. The submitter did not send their Bob configuration file, so I'm guessing a lot of these would have been bobbed off. It was present in the mod list. Which is a good point for me to mention that actually. If you are using Bob and you want your settings to transfer me over, you also need to submit your Bob configuration file. Otherwise those changes won't be on my game. So something to bear in mind if you want to submit. Swinging back around to the side of the towers here, where we left the racetrack, the couplet and the metro continue to swoop and loop over one another. We go into a big financial district's high interest tower here, which is very appropriate actually, isn't it, for the theme? Lots of financial district zoning as this metro really sweeps in and amongst the buildings, doesn't it? Crazy metro network here. Through this, we'll head out of the towers toward more shopping centres, more wonderful network designs here too. Really nice. A few of these segments on the threshold have been a little too small, but you're not getting stuck traffic, are you? Heading down the coast, we'll come into campus, which has wonderful alignment, of course, with the arterial road with some trees in the road. Perhaps some tree control settings not carried over here. I really love the landscape in here, right? Little zigzag bush lines with the curvy pathways. Up into a big centralised campus, lots of fountains, doubled up dorms on the waterfront here. A big retaining wall also present in the campus too. Nice use of the terrain. Oh, that's even a double retaining wall. Are they using that? Do they use both layers? I think they do. Oh, they do use both layers. Very cool. I've never seen the stairs double stacked like that. You could even go for a third time, couldn't you? Really nice. Metro station, also in here. It doesn't look overly busy. Let's have a little look. There's a few people using it. It's okay. And then the campus swings back around into more outer line suburbia. We can see another rail yard out here with the warehouse, garbage processing building, and this little outer line town here. And with the castle used in a very peculiar way, I'm guessing you're going for almost like it's a moat sort of thing there, I guess, is the intention. You do actually have the road connected in. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the connecting road, isn't it? I thought this one was. You've just used the stone European bridge as, like, a bridge into the castle. Which might be the coolest use of that road network that we've seen. That pairs so nicely, doesn't it? Amazing. I love that. You could even make the very last segment on land and remove this road. That way the castle would probably stay connected and then just fuse that landmass into the castle, if that makes sense. And then you wouldn't need to have this road underneath. But creative use of the castle if you've ever seen one, right? Absolutely. Heading back into this super dense concentration of green cities, tourism, wall-to-wall. There's so many different styles here. Back to that roundabout. I can see something quite peculiar. What looks like the robotics center fused together with Japanese offices and a cricket pitch in a big hexagon that sits in its own plaza as part of the downtown. Isn't that cool? That's so nice. You can see the pedestrian pathway underneath there where people are walking. Really makes it look like that kind of bigger arena, kind of conference center vibe, doesn't it? Really, really sweet. There's some very creative fusing of buildings in this city that we've seen today so far, isn't there? And then tons more density. Unique buildings, Brooklyn and Queens. If you ever need inspiration for asset combinations, Selassie is full of them, isn't it? Green Cities wall to wall, another varsity sports building up here. With the Stadium Metro Station, which I absolutely adore. Never used this one, but it's really nice. Partners very well with Bad Peanuts' kind of sunken football stadium. I plan to put them in a combination at some point. And then a big, very big basketball or tennis plaza, I suppose. Some custom, are these custom assets or is this pieced together? It is pieced together. Very nice. Little custom tennis courts here. Plopped ones too. Lots of park detailing in around here on these retaining walls. Nice little sunken stadium or elevated station. This bit's sunken, I suppose. In the foot of the skyline, right? Very fun. Lots of people walking around here too. Tons more density and mental interchange work. Look at that. Super compact, right? But it's flowing pretty much like a dream. You okay? Yeah, there you go. They're moving. Yeah, you really packed in a lot of different networks very tightly together here, haven't you? Leaving the Mall of Marvels build we saw earlier, we'll swing into this outer lying area. Fun little design with this slightly elevated block of density here. Lots of green cities, residential, and IT cluster all here. Car parking, more great network designs, all splitting off here from different highway roads. So these are actually two-directional asymmetry here, aren't they? Really fun. Over here, we'll come down to another interchange and then wrap around this way. I think maybe this has been unzoned. Not sure, maybe this looks a little odd. We weren't missing anything on the loading screen mod report. So maybe just it wasn't developed. Or simply ran out of time, maybe. And then not much more of our classic grid frame and curved arterial infrastructure begins to take back over here. As we see that train infrastructure, which I'm imagining is coming from downtown. Let's track that line back. Yeah, that's the one we saw earlier, wasn't it? Back into the Glassbox station. So you've done a really good job, actually, of getting all of these networks out of a very dense city centre in a pretty sensible way. Something I often struggle with if I kind of don't plan in those networks beforehand. It can be hard to factor them in, but you're doing a really nice job of it here. More suburbia sweeps back up as we come across the second golf course, which sits with the park maintenance building. And then lots of classic curvy pathways to indicate each hole. And then all of this peels away into these smaller towns that we stumbled upon at the start of the episode as this interchange goes underground under this embankment. And then this peels us off back into that little airport configuration. And of course we can't finish a city showcase without checking out the massive nighttime vistas. Something so special about CS1 at nighttime, isn't there? You really get a sense of the road hierarchy actually at nighttime because of the different coloured lights. You see how all these different systems interconnect with each other, can't you? Much better at night, actually. Look at all the lights on the car park at the airport. That's hilarious. I love that. What's that? This massive sprawl, right? All the twinkling lights. It's so dense. 163,000 people at this size. Absolutely fantastic. But even from this perspective, right, you can really see the jumps in elevation as the terrain changes. That's been mostly respected. Nothing's flat around here. There's lots of layers, lots of activity. Look at that. Oh, there's even used the after dark lights too. I can see them now. Down the racetrack. Very cool. So I guess the racetrack, it turns here, right? I guess it's this way, isn't it? They're driving this way. So this would be the pit exit, I assume. Let's get a look at that Metro Plaza as well, right? Fabulous, look at that. Really nice city centre. Super, I love the big buildings, the density of train stations, and activity of walking porn. A really nice project, especially when viewed at night time as well. Pretty significant size, isn't it? Well, that completes a wonderful showcase of Selassie, an absolutely massive build on the Mountain Taper map. Some really interesting ideas here and some very unique asset combinations I've never seen before in my probably 4,000 hours plus of watching and playing City Skylines over the years. So props to that, and hope you managed to find some inspiration from it. Don't forget, if you want your cities to feature next time, fill out the link to the Google form in the video description. And an enormous shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos with a roll call to our golden patron eggs: Bad Wolf, Blythe, Casino, Great Z, Jamin, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, and Spartan Angel. If you want to get involved in that, links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming are below. On the Friday this video releases, I am moving house, so expect a little break in the schedule going forward over the next possibly 1 to 3 weeks. It really depends on getting utilities and stuff arranged in the new place. So I expect a little bit of downtime, but I will still make videos nonetheless. Either way, enjoy the cinematics and that nighttime rocket launch. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.